Hi, Ben.
Hey, Jamie. It's hi.
Yeah. All right, so we're wrapping up our I Wonder series with the question, why is it awkward to talk about faith?
And we just wanted to start out with that object lesson about awkwardness.
Yeah, sometimes people are awkward.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
Awkward. Okay, so I love this question because it came up in my small group with the guys brought it up in week 1 of the series.
Yes.
When we were talking about different religions and different perspectives. So I love that because I know this is a conversation we're going to have. It's going to be a good conversation. I also want to acknowledge some people don't feel this way. Like, it's easy for you to talk about Jesus or about faith with other people, and like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Whether or not you're a Christian or not a Christian, you know, you're curious about this.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you're an atheist who just loves talking about faith stuff. Or maybe you're an atheist who feels awkward talking about, or you're a Christian who feels awkward or feels really confident.
Yeah.
People are all over the board, but this question still resonates.
Yeah, well, I think back to one of the ways that it was resonating in the room on week 1 of this series was, I think, related to the fact that our culture kind of coaches us not to talk about religion. And because it's like, we want to be people who are like nice to each other and get along well, and conversations about Jesus are sometimes conversations that make people feel uncomfortable because they know different people bring different perspectives. And so there's something about the way our world coaches us that says, don't talk about religion-y stuff in public.
Yeah, totally. And for people who are Christians, there can be this baggage that's carried into a conversation. Like, there's a lot of harmful and hurtful things that Christians have done throughout the past or even recently that gets like attached to anyone who identifies with Christianity, and that can be a lot of awkward feeling brought into a conversation.
Yeah. Okay, so those are 2 reasons why it might be awkward for someone to talk about Jesus. So Jimmy, if it's awkward, why would faith or Jesus ever come up in any of my conversations with my friends?
Yeah, good question. Well, I think if you're a Christian, and that means like your identity, who you are, is attached to the identity of who Jesus is, right? And so a part of us is attached to Jesus, and if we're having a conversation about, you know, our life and our interests and the way we live and the things we're doing with our life, you know, Jesus is inherently a part of that conversation.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, it becomes almost necessary even to involve faith in the way we have conversations with others.
Yeah, I think that I resonate with that when I think about everything that I do on a daily basis in life rests on the foundation of who I am in Jesus and how he invites me to live my life. And so I do feel like if someone's going to actually get to know me, like, Jesus is going to come up at some point in some way. So,
okay, so does the Bible have anything to say about the way we engage in those conversations? Whether we're coming to it awkwardly or not awkwardly, with confidence, whether we're, you know, I don't know. What does the Bible have to say about like these kinds of conversations centered around faith?
One place where the Bible talks about this is in a letter written by Peter, who was a close friend with Jesus. And Peter said this, "In your hearts, revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope you have. And do this with gentleness and respect." I love, there's almost like these 3 levels to this thing that Peter is saying. Like, in your hearts, like, Jesus as Lord is like this starting point.
Confidence in who you are.
Yeah, confidence in
rooted in Jesus.
Amen. Love that. And then The next thing is, so that's going to come out in conversation. So just be ready for that to come out in conversation. And he says it's specifically related to the hope that you have, or anything about your life that just exudes something of like, my life is different because of Jesus. And then the third layer is the last thing he says, of doing it with gentleness and respect. Such an awesome and helpful posture for us to have in these conversations.
Amen. So I think like one thing for students maybe to take from this conversation is to acknowledge that sometimes this is awkward, but sometimes it's not. So perhaps, one step could be to ask God, like pray for an opportunity to talk to someone that they're already in relationship with. Someone who already knows them and loves them, to like share their faith. But if a student's not at that point where they feel confident about talking about Jesus, maybe a step is simply to invite a friend to join them at community group some night, or come to church on a Sunday with them.
Yeah, both of those are awesome options. And I think Jesus has enriched my life so much that I want my friends and family members to know about him. And so I want to walk away from this conversation and pray for more opportunities, that God would open up opportunities for me to either talk about Jesus with friends and family, or invite them to church or community group, or both. And God's the kind of God who just might answer that prayer.
For sure. And I think the last piece of encouragement to students is stay curious. We're wrapping up our series here on I Wonder, and we hope that I wonder is a phrase you continue to start conversations with. You just keep asking questions. Don't check your doubts at the door. This is a community rooted in questions that drive conversation, and those conversations can be transformative as we discover what it means to root our identity in Jesus and live our lives the way he wants us to live. So questions are essential. Keep wondering and stay curious.
Amen. Have an awesome small group conversation.
See you guys.